Okay, so let's talk about the southern Thai province of Satun. Right now, there's a quiet but really intense political battle going on. And it's not just another election, it's this incredible clash between the old guard and a new generation that's basically asking, hey, does our home even have a future?
You know, when most people think of Satun, they think of these absolutely stunning islands. But if you look past the tourist brochures, there's a major political showdown brewing. And really, it's going to decide whether the province grows and creates opportunities or just stays stuck in the same old patterns.
So, this is the big question, right? Can the voices of this young, frustrated generation finally break through the traditional way of doing politics that has defined Satun for decades? Is this the moment things change?
To really get what this new generation is up against, we first have to understand the three pillars of old-school politics. These have been deciding elections for a long, long time, not just in Satun, but, well, all over Thailand.
So when you're trying to win an election here, what actually moves the needle? Well, the experts will tell you it pretty much boils down to three main things.
Okay, so here are the traditional heavy hitters. First, you've got money power, which, yeah, can sometimes mean straight-up vote buying. Then there's identity power, which is all about appealing to local pride or religious loyalties. And finally, the influence of big houses. These are powerful, long-established political families with huge networks of support. But what's so fascinating is that now a totally new voice is rising up and saying, you know what, none of this is good enough anymore.
And that new voice, it's coming directly from the young people of Satun. So let's listen to the specific problems they say are holding their home province back.
Wow, I mean, that question from a local student just hits you, right? It gets right to the heart of the problem. They're seeing this massive brain drain where all the smartest, most talented people have to leave home just to find a good job. They're building up other provinces, not their own.
They also talk about this deep feeling of inequality, and it starts with education. Students are pointing out how schools out in the countryside don't even have basic science equipment, stuff that schools in the city just take for granted. It's like a two-tiered system right from day one.
And then there's the economy. They look around and see all these incredible local resources, unique fruits, amazing seafood, but it all feels frozen. All that potential is just sitting there, locked up, not being used to create real, lasting value for the people who actually live there.
This feeling of being cut off from the world, it's a real everyday problem. Without good public transport, life is just harder for everyone. Think about students just trying to get to school, or tourists who want to explore but can't get around easily. It keeps communities isolated and holds back the economy. And when you add it all up, what you get is a crisis of the future. There's a serious lack of good jobs, not enough public spaces for young people to hang out, and just this general feeling that if you want to make something of yourself, you have to leave. So graduates are forced to pack their bags and leave the home they love.
All right, so with all these powerful demands from the younger generation, how are the candidates responding? We're talking about the candidates for the head of the Provincial Administrative Organization. That's the PAO, the group in charge of local development. And four main contenders have stepped up, each offering a very different vision for Satun's future.
So let's break down the four competing ideas on the table. Each candidate is coming at this from a totally different angle, from making small improvements to calling for a complete political overhaul.
First up, you've got the incumbent Samrat Riang-Persit. His whole message is about continuity and stability. He's making a bet that voters want slow and steady improvements to their daily lives. Things like better infrastructure, a local university, and making it easier for tourists to get around. It's the don't rock the boat approach.
Then, in a complete 180, you have Sunten Ismail Shah. His vision is all about looking outward. He's arguing that Satun's future depends on becoming an international gateway, opening up new trade routes with its neighbors, and turning itself into a major hub for things like the halal and seafood industries.
Umar Arjim also sees a future in global connections, but he's got this laser focus on tourism. His big idea is to open up new sea routes to Indonesia. He thinks that by upgrading key spots like the Pakbara port to world-class standards, they could bring in millions of new tourists.
And finally, there's Tanikum Pujanapimun. He's the one saying the problem isn't just the policies, it's the entire political system. His old platform is called New Politics, and it's a radical idea built from years of actually going out and listening to people. He believes real change can't come from the top down, it has to bubble up from the ground.
So, here we are. On one side, you have the powerful demands of the youth. On the other, you have these four very different visions for the future. It all brings us back to that central question.
At the end of the day, what's going to decide this election? Are voters going to stick with what's familiar, or are all those frustrations we heard about going to be enough to trigger a massive shift for the future of this entire province?
This really is the choice facing Saskatchewan. Is this election going to be decided by those traditional forces, by money and those deeply rooted political families? Or is the demand for a real future, voiced so clearly by a new generation, finally strong enough to change the game? The answer is going to define not just an election, but the entire destiny of a province.